Hey everyone, how you doing? It's NFL Week 6. I'm Wade McElwain from NFL in London. Joining me, Edo Delmonte, Ryan Cull from NFL in London, and Will Gavin from Gridiron. Guys, it's been an amazing week so far with so many injuries, some good games, some bad games. But each week we play along in DraftKings, and we've got our own league. We play at DraftKings, the Hippo, draftkings.co.uk/Hippo. Play along with us. And so you put together a 9-player team for a $50,000 budget. Who is on your team? Quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, flex position, and a defense. I'm going to ask these guys, who is on your team? Let's start with quarterbacks. I'm going to start with Ryan. Ryan, who won the Hippo contest a couple weeks ago and fallen from glory last week.
Every week from now on, it's going to be Ryan won it 2 weeks ago.
Everyone chases the crown. So
let's talk your quarterback.
I went with my quarterback. I went with the same philosophy. I'm going to go with is go against Cleveland, and I went with Marcus Mariota.
Yep.
Again, you look at last week against what was it against Miami? 30 points.
Yep.
Put up 30 points, 4 touchdowns at 6,100. That's actually very reasonable offer to grab Marcus Mariota. And again, against Cleveland. Let's just see what he does. You know what? I think he could probably have a little bit tougher a game, but at 6,100, I think he's a good value.
He's a runner. He's a thrower. I mean, he's got a lot of good talent on there, and I mean, they're not going to be able to always stop DeMarco Murray. So, you know, he's going to have to be throwing the ball around. Edo, who you got on yours?
Carson Wentz at 6,000, mainly because he's playing Washington, and really because he's been a reliable, sort of safe pair of hands so far. And well, now that you start seeing even Dorial Green-Beckham playing well, you've got obviously Aguilar, you've got Jordan Matthews. I think they're all really dangerous threats with that Washington secondary. And, you know, Zach Ertz will be coming back. I really like the combo here. And, yeah, I really kind of went for Will's philosophy because I initially went for Roethlisberger. But then I was like, come on, man. Nearly 8,000 for a quarterback. You save up on that. You're able to afford an extra skill position player. So I thought, Carson, you're my boy.
All right. Will, who you got in your quarterback?
Well, while we're doing defensive matchups, I didn't think there were a lot of great quarterback matchups this week, but one I do like is Brian Hoyer.
All right, go Bears!
Yeah, 3 300-yard games in a row. They are going to put points up on Jacksonville. Every team has so far. And, yeah, 5,800. Cheap as chips.
Always good. It gives you lots of money to save on other positions. So the other thing you've got is 2 running backs. Do you blow the wad big and go for some of the best guys, or do you save it trying to find some value? Let's start with you, Edo. Who are your 2 running backs that you chose this week?
Carlos Hyde and Jonathan Stewart. So we got Carlos Hyde playing against Buffalo, who've really been incapable of stopping the run. I do think about Rob Ryan is. Rob Ryan will come in and revamp your defense and then eventually tail off. That first season will always be pretty good. At Buffalo, the defense was already good. And I don't think he necessarily, well, first Rex and then when Rob came in, I don't think he added much to it. And there's a lot of blitzing going on. It's a lot of scheme stuff. I don't know if they're necessarily that good at stopping the run. So Carlos Hyde is 5,100. And considering that Colin Kaepernick is in, I think that San Francisco will be running the ball more. Even if they do air it out, I think that, you know, Chip Kelly's system is very fast. There's a lot of running, so he'll be good. Jonathan Stewart is the other one because he's playing New Orleans, the worst defense in fantasy against running backs. And well, it depends if Jonathan Stewart starts, of course, because Cameron Artis-Payne is a very valid alternative.
He was amazing on Monday night.
He was. 3,900. I mean, Tampa Bay are garbage against the run as well, but, I mean, these are really good prices for guys who could really get 20, 25 plus points.
Yep.
So I think that Jonathan Stewart's a good one.
If he's back, and you're right.
If he's back.
Ryan, running backs.
I'm going to go with number 1. I'm going with Shady McCoy.
Nice.
I think Shady McCoy is going to have a great game. It's a revenge game against Chip Kelly. That's all he's going to think. And I think the difference what you're seeing with, I think a lot of people were down on McCoy last year, but he was injured for a lot of the year last year. And now we're seeing him fully healthy. He went up for 150 against the Rams, which is a good defense. And he's just going to be going off, I think. This is his revenge game. He's having the best career he's had. And at 28, people are like, oh, he's starting to tail off. And he actually looks better than he's ever looked. And the other one I've gone is Todd Gurley.
Bit of a disappointment so far.
He's been a disappointment, but again, he's got to have that breakout game eventually. It's got to happen. I think against Detroit, it can happen. I think they're going to rely on him. They're going to pound it because Case Keenum's not going to beat you. And it's going to be the Todd Gurley show on the turf. I like it. I think he's going to have a great game.
I think LaShawn McCoy's a great shout. And partially why? Because I actually think quietly, sneaky chance of the rushing leader title this year.
Yeah.
Because DeMarco Murray doesn't stay healthy, and Ezekiel Elliott is a rookie, sitting in 3rd at the moment on that list. He's
He's one of those ones, he was sort of underrated, I think, at the start of the season. A lot of people didn't have him really in the top 10, and then he sort of comes back and surprises. So, yeah.
I actually sat with both LaShawn McCoy and Carlos Hyde in my lineup this week several times, but I just think that's going to be a low-scoring, ugly game. So I've taken Jordan Howard He's the hot tip in town at the
Everyone's
moment.
riding
Going
that
up
train.
against the Jags, I'm fine riding that train because he's facing the Jags. And then I've taken Frank Gore.
Okay.
Because the Texans are currently sitting at 16th in run defense, but that's because they've gone from 5th to 10th to 12th, and they're just dropping down and dropping down as players get injured. And Frank Gore, he just every carry he falls forwards, he gains you those extra few yards. He the last 2 weeks he's been jumping over people in the record standings, and just you feel like he's good for a touchdown every week right now. Old man Gore, I am riding that train.
Old man Gory riding that train. Sounds like a country song, Will. Let's go into wide receivers, 3 wide receivers. How do you spend your money? Ryan spent a lot of money on his running backs. So I'm going to go back to you and ask you, how did your wide receivers do? Because there's got to be someone in the low
They
range.
don't look great, to be honest with you. This is where it could be a little bit. Actually, I think I got a couple good ones. I like Allen Robinson against Chicago. I think he's starting to have. He's coming on. He's got multiple touchdowns or 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Coming off a bye week, they're going to have a lot of time to go after
He's
him.
pretty pricey, though. He's like 7,200, 7,500, something like
He was
that.
7,800, but against Chicago, I'm going against that Bears defense. Everyone's been able to seem to be able to throw on them. The other one I've gone with is at a real discount at 4,600 is Chris Hogan. I decided to go, he is the deep threat on that New England team, and I think he's also that guy who's just always ignored. No one's really afraid of Chris Hogan, so he's able to just, every now and then, once a game, he can beat you. Again, he got tackled at the 1 last week. I almost made it into the end zone. So I think Chris Hogan is going to get the targets, especially Tom Brady back.
Brady's threatened by him because
Just
he's better
spreads it-
looking.
He just
He's better
spreads it
looking.
back. And then the last one I went with is Terrell Pryor. I went back
Okay.
with Terrell Pryor
all
with that Cleveland team. Again, someone's got to get the ball. I think if they're going to
throw the ball.
Against
Do everything.
and if they're down a lot, I'll
hot
take my
dogs.
garbage yards. I'll go for the team. The receiver gets the garbage yard, gets the touchdown, and
He
especially
could get a sack this week.
with the
Do you get points for that on DraftKings?
with the chance he throws it and runs it, I'll take that triple threat. And he wasn't that cheap at 6,100. Why not?
Not bad at all. Okay, let's go into Edo. Let's throw down your wide receivers. Who do you have?
There's a couple of cheap options, but there's a good reason for it.
Okay.
What I believe is a good reason, which may not be what you think is a good reason, but I'm starting out with Tavon Austin.
Okay.
Repeatedly disappointing Tavon
yeah.
Austin, first round pick out of West Virginia, I believe. 3,900, but he's playing Detroit. It's
Yeah.
a weakened defense. Do we believe in Case Keenum? No. But he'll be able to throw it. And, well, Detroit lost Answer. They lost DeAndre Levy. And he's actually been quite reliable so far. He's been getting you those 10, 11 sort of fantasy points every week. 218 yards, a touchdown. So I think that Tavon Austin could be a bit of a surprise here, just because nobody's expecting the Rams to actually throw the ball a lot.
Well, the
Todd
Rams,
Gurley's average
people wrote off
carries
the Rams, and the Rams keep winning. They're doing a lot better. People were saying they could be like 0-17 or 0-16 this season, and look at them play.
I'm not going
The
7
Bills
and
of the
9.
West Coast.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
I'm not going 7 and 9. You are going 7 and 9. But this is the pride before the fall. I think they could be reasonable in that game. The other cheap option is Jeremy Curley.
Okay.
San Francisco at Buffalo. But in the last 2 games, he's got 22 receptions.
Yeah, 14.3 fantasy points, so he's playing all right.
So he's actually getting the ball, and you can't be worse than Blaine Gabbert. That's physically impossible. Blaine Gabbert's probably not even the best quarterback in his own family. So I think Jeremy Curley could be a sneaky option here, because Buffalo's really struggled to defend even the throw. I mean, again, I've got a bit of a problem with how Rex and Rob Ryan run this whole operation, so I still think they'll win the game, but it will be high scoring.
Yep.
So there we go. That's at 4,000 is the second.
I want to make a guess at why he's gone so cheap with the other 2 receivers. I reckon you've got Antonio Brown.
Close.
One.
Close. You're very close. This actually has nothing to do with what I just said. Brandon Cooks, 7,600. I was going to pick him anyway. He's playing against Carolina. It's a bad secondary so far. We saw what happened to Ben Wickery last week. It's not been so fun for him. He's at 7,600. I think the Drew Brees is airing it out a lot. So I think that Brandon Cooks is a good choice.
All right, let's go to Will Gavin. Then, Will, your 3 wide receivers.
I'll follow off on what he's just been saying about New Orleans, and I took Willie Snead, but for $1,200 less. And I think he's got just as much upside as Brandon Cooks. So for $6,400, my super cheap option was Cole Beasley. 4,400. I've just been bigging up the Green Bay defense on our game preview, but the one place they can be exploited is at the mid-level, and we talked about the timing offense in Dallas, and he's potential in a PPR type league to get 6-7 catches quite happily, and that's because I did save some money and went for 10,000.
Oh my God! Oh, the money!
Antonio Brown, and I do not.
Stack
I don't
of high
care.
society.
I
Making it
do
rain.
not care, because he's going up against Miami, who are the worst defense in the league right now, And he could easily score 45 points this week.
No,
against that
seriously,
team.
yes.
Yeah.
So I just figured, you know what? I actually started with him and went, where can I save money around
okay.
this?
Nice. All right. So there are also 3 other positions yet to fill. Tight end, flex position. On a defense, I'm going to say these guys throw them all down for me. Edo, tight end, flex, and D. Who you got?
Let's talk Greg Olsen.
Oh, let's
that's who I've
talk.
picked.
180 yards, no touchdowns, but 180 yards for 18 points in DraftKings last week. Amazing.
Correct. And yeah, he's at 7,000. We can't think of him in terms of he's more expensive than the next tight end.
Yeah.
You pick a tight end, you think I'm going to save money because they may not necessarily get, the catches. He actually rates high up with all the best wide receivers in terms of targets, in terms of points he's scoring. So I think he's my extra good wide receiver. Not Antonio Brown, although I really wanted to pick him. 10,000 is really expensive. But, but so Greg Olsen, yeah, and he's playing New Orleans, so there we go. My surprise pick, the one who justified all of the penny pinching from earlier on, is Le'Veon Bell at 7,900 because I believe that Miami is basically a tire fire. They've actually defended the run quite reasonably this year, but everything could go to pieces. Ever since he's returned, Big Ben has thrown 9 touchdowns and no interceptions. So the air game has been incredible, and I think that Le'Veon Bell looked pretty good last week. Miami could literally fall off a cliff. I mean, they already have in many ways. Everything has gone wrong with that franchise. All the Floridian franchises, adding all these guys in free agency, and these teams have just been in stasis for the last few years. You keep going, this will be the year. It hasn't been the year for any of those franchises. Our defense, to conclude, Eagles against Washington. This is another guy who's falling off a cliff. It's Kirk Cousins, unfortunately. I liked that. I believed in that. But at 3,100, I think the Eagles can pick him off a couple of times, or at least, sack him to pieces.
I think there'll be a few sacks with, you like that?
You like that? Oh, but I loved that moment.
Yeah, it was. It was good.
addictive.
Now, but I'm sure he can't get away from that expression in Washington, walking around, you like that? We're losing. You like that?
Yeah, they're losing.
All right, Ryan.
They're 3-2. They're
3-2? Yeah.
They're not doing too bad. All right, I decided to go with a tight end. This one I don't really love. It's Kobe Fleener. I feel like I've gone with him before, and he hasn't really worked out. Yeah, but again, because Carolina's given up so many yards, Drew Brees is going to spread it out. I figure he can get me 1 touchdown. That I feel that's good enough, and he's not too expensive. The other one I've gone with, really cheap, I think is really cheap at 4,600, is Isaiah Crowell against Tennessee. I think when I look at my flex position, I just look at touches. Who's going to get me a lot of touches? And Isaiah Crowell is going to get the ball against Tennessee. I think this game is going to actually be a close game. It's going to be one of those Cleveland going to come out in front and then probably lose it in classic Cleveland fashion. But Isaiah Crowell has actually looked one of the better running backs in the league this year. He's keeping on to his job, so I like him. And last and not least, and I'm going to defend my Buffalo Bills defense by choosing them against the hatred across the table. First of all, if you look at the Buffalo Bills defense, one of the most underrated in standard fantasy football. They are the number 2 ranked defense in the league. The last 3 out of the last 4 games have gotten over 20 points, 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games, and going against San Francisco.
You don't fear Colin Kaepernick?
I don't feel Colin Kaepernick. I don't feel Curly. I feel Carlos Hyde is what you do. Shut him down. Let's make Kaepernick beat us. But again, Rex Ryan has this team believing. They've won 3 straight. They're going to be at home with that crowd. And Buffalo, I think, looks to be a great pick, I think, against San Francisco. So I go with my Bills.
The smell of tire fires will be in the air in Buffalo. Will, your 3 final ones you've got.
Start with the tight end, and this is where I saved some money versus your Graham, whoever pick. I said Graham Gano, then that's the kicker. Whoever it is, Greg Olsen, exactly. $4,900 for Jimmy Graham.
Okay.
17 targets, 12 catches, 213 yards and a touchdown over the last 2 weeks. And he is $1,200 cheaper than the nearest elite tight end. 2,100 cheaper than Greg Olsen. I looked at this. I could not believe the value in Jimmy Graham this week. So I went Jimmy Graham. I then went, and maybe make that change. Get Antonio Brown. Actually, don't do that. I want to beat you in the Hippo League. Steelers are my defense.
Okay.
Because they're going up against Miami, who gave up 6 sacks last week to a team who had 2 sacks on the season before they faced Miami.
Yeah.
Steelers aren't a great defense, but Miami are an even worse team. And then there's my flex position, and I've slightly cheated here, but it's the joy of DraftKings because you can change your team right up to 530.
Of course, yeah.
So I've taken big value. Cameron Artis-Payne for 3,700.
Looked great on Monday night.
I think with Carolina on a bye week next week, I think there's a chance they don't risk Jonathan Stewart at all.
Yeah.
Let's go, we're facing New Orleans. They're a terrible defense. Let's roll with Cameron Artis-Payne, who had a great game on Monday, and then give him those extra 2 weeks to rest.
Yeah.
If Jonathan Stewart is declared fit. I'll drop Artis Payne, bring Jonathan Stewart in, and then receiver I'll cut Snead and bring in Sammy Coates to make a bit of a saving there. So I've already planned that ahead of time. I know how I'm going to make my changes, but I think Cameron Artis-Payne, if he starts, if he's the #1 running back against New Orleans, and he's $3,700.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that's
going to be in every winning lineup.
That's really a great value pick, and you're also right. And I don't think that Stewart will be back. I think they will give him that extra week off. And why would you want to rush him? You maybe bring him in for a couple, see how he is, but you're not going to use him to carry the heavy weight load. So I agree with that. So let's take a look at our lineups, and we'll go through them. To check out Edo's first. He's got Wentz, Hyde, Stewart, Tavon Austin. Spends all the
the laughter in
Didn't
your
even say
voice.
Tavon Austin.
Brandon Cooks, Hurley, Olsen, Le'Veon Bell, and the Eagles. Sorry, you also had Antonio Brown. Or no, sorry, that was not you. Go ahead to the next one. Sorry, that was Edo's. Go to the next one. So we'll go to Ryan's. Mariota, LaShawn McCoy, Todd Gurley, and then Teller Pryor Sr. for 6,100 is pretty good. Chris Hogan, who's got 15.1 fantasy points at 4,600, good deal. Allen Robinson, who I like, against the Bears, though it's unfortunate. Colby Fleener, who's running on 20.9, and Isaiah Crowell, 25.1 for 4,600, pretty good deal. And, of course, the very affordable Buffalo Bills defense. Will has got Hoyer, Gore, and Howard, a couple of very big guys there for Chicago. Cole Beasley, Antonio Brown at 10 grand, Willie Snead, Jimmy Graham, Cameron Artis-Payne, and the Steelers. Now, let's take a look at my lineup, because I'm also in it. I went with a big against Cleveland lineup, which is Mariota and Murray. I also think Mark Ingram is going to gash Carolina because they haven't been able to stop anything. I also went for Cole Beasley. And for New Orleans, I went Michael Thomas because I think he'll get some good points off there. DeJay Sharp, because he's the #1 receiver for Tennessee. I think they're going to rip over Cleveland. I also took Greg Olsen. I put my big money on Alshon Jeffrey because he's playing against Jacksonville. And I also went with the Eagles defense. How would you like to play against us? It's very easy. We've got the DraftKings League. Just go to the Hippodrome League. So you go to DraftKings.co.uk/Hippo. Go to our league. You can join our league, enter one of the contests, play in the Hippo Night contest, the Sunday Night Hippo contest. You can win first prize, 2 tickets to Washington versus Cleveland. Second prize, 50-pound bar tab. Third place, set of steak knives. No, I'm just kidding. That's Glengarry Glen Ross. Just come and visit us. See us at the Sunday, every Sunday at the Hippodrome Casino. We'll see you Sunday. Have a good NFL week.